Well, the weather outside is getting frightful. I don't know about where you live, but we have a cold front coming through, and at our house, that means soup. Today in particular, I'm making my Aunt Christine's 15 bean soup. Thanks for joining me today on Susan's Cozy Kitchen. I'm making a 15 bean soup using my Aunt Christine's recipe. It's simple, it's easy, and it tastes better the longer you have it around. Let me give you a quick rundown on what I've already done. This is one of those things that takes a little bit of advanced preparation. Last night, I put the beans in this pot to soak. I covered them with about 2 inches of water. Along with that, I put in some salt and some baking soda. So I soaked those overnight, left them soaking all day today. A few minutes ago, I poured all of that out, rinsed them, and then covered them with just a tiny bit of water because I didn't get home until 4 o'clock and I'm on a time crunch now to make dinner. So I've got the beans in here with a little bit of water heating up, getting nice and warm. On my stove back here in this large pot, I have the ham bone boiling and getting all of the ham off of the bone that's left over from our Christmas dinner. So ham is going back there, beans are going here. Once the ham bone has cooked long enough, I will take the bone out, I'll get the meat off, dice it up, and then I'll pour the beans into that, and then I'll finish cooking. So I hope that made sense. This is a let's hurry up and get this done kind of meal tonight. Normally I would cook the ham first. Once all of that was done, then I would add the beans and everything else into it and then finish cooking from there. But tonight I've got 2 different pots going. Hey, it'll work, right? In here I have the beans and some water. I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of baking soda. I have the equivalent of 2 cloves of garlic. So for me, that's 2 teaspoons of the minced garlic that I buy at the store. I have about 2/3 of a cup of ham. I wanted to start the beans with some ham in it so that it would cook in that ham flavor. So even though I have ham back there, I also have ham here. And then here I have half an onion that I diced, and then I have 2 tablespoons of the dried chopped onions that I like to use. So plenty of onion. Let's give it a stir and mix everything in together. Basically, I just want it to start getting hot, letting the flavors blend together while I'm waiting on that to finish cooking back there. And I don't even have the beans covered. I just have the water up to the top level of the beans. So this is just heating up. Now the one thing I haven't done yet is I have not chopped my jalapeno yet. I washed it first and then I cut off the end and then I just split it in half. Now I like to use a spoon and just scoop down the pepper and get as much of the vein and all of the seeds out. Then I'll give these a rinse, and next I cut tiny little strips of the jalapeno, basically as thin as I can possibly get the strips to be. This will give the beans flavor without adding a lot of spice. If you like flavor but not spicy hot, get rid of the seeds and the membrane and you're good. If you like it spicy, leave them in there. I hold it all together. I cut it as teeny tiny as I can because I only do 1 jalapeno for this. Okay, scrape those into the pot of beans. And then I have a can of petite diced tomatoes with green chilies. There's several different brands. This one is not the one that's most known, but it's a really good brand. The last thing I'm going to add a little bit of freshly ground black pepper. Stir that in, and I didn't add a lot. I just like a little bit of flavor without being too much. I'm going to let this continue to heat. I'm going to let that continue to cook back there. In about 20 minutes, I will bring it over here, cut the ham off the bone, chop everything up, and get everything going together. All right, so the ham has been cooking for a while. I believe it's ready to finish getting the rest of the ham off the bone, and then we can finish our bean soup. All right, so there's that. And I like to get these into bite-sized pieces, and I like to get rid of as much of the fat off the ham as possible. So these are already fairly small. Okay, this goes back in. Now I'll just continue working on the ham bone, getting the meat off that and chopping it up and putting it back in there. You can also buy some ham in the deli at the store, chop it up and throw it in there, and it works also. It's not quite the same as cooking your ham bone, but it's close enough. Okay, I've got the leaner parts of the ham off the bone and back into the pot here to make the bean soup. And now I'm going to do something very scary. I'm going to pour this into this. You know what? I think I'm going to dip some over first because that's a lot to pour. Oh, you can smell the onion and garlic and the nice meaty ham smell. This is going to be fantastic when it's done. Getting a lot of the beans moved over. And you know, technically, I think you could eat 15 bean soup on New Year's Day if you're Southern and you follow the tradition of eating black-eyed peas and pork, because they are actually in the 15 bean mixture. And then of course you've got the ham in there, so you've got your pork. And then maybe fry a little cabbage, have some cornbread, and you are ready for health, wealth, and happiness in the new year. So I think I've got enough of the beans out of there that I can pour this without worrying. Just pour the rest of that. Now we're ready to put this on here. I've turned it up, I'm putting the lid on, I'm going to bring it up to a boil. Once it starts boiling, I'll turn it down to a simmer and let it cook for at least 30 minutes. I'll stir it very gently every now and then during that time, just to make sure that nothing's sticking on the bottom, but I don't want to stir it so much that I smush all the beans. This is starting to boil, so I'm going to give it a quick little stir, and I'm going to turn it down to low so that it will simmer and cook, but hopefully not burn or turn the beans into mush. Timer beat, so it's time for a quick stir, and it's not simmering quite as much as I want it to, so I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. This is simmering ever so slightly. Going to pull out one of the beans and see if they're starting to get nice and tender. Here we are. It's getting there, but I think it's going to need at least another 20 minutes. Going to pull out another bean and see. Let's see if it's getting close to done. I'm thinking at least another 10, if not 20. Maybe in 10. As the timer sounded, let's check it again. Let's see if it's done yet. Okay, both of those were done. I'm gonna let it go for about 10 more minutes. It's not gonna hurt anything. It's only gonna make it better. But by that point, everything should be done. My cornbread will be ready and I'll be ready to have dinner. There's the timer. This has been going for quite some time now. It's starting to thicken up as I'm stirring it, and the smell is divine. When I'm stirring it, everything feels soft. Before, when I would push the spoon through, it was like hitting little pebbles or something. I'm not feeling that now, so I'm thinking might be finished. They're all nice and soft. Everything is tender. I'm grabbing the cornbread out of the oven and I'm having dinner. Thank you for joining me today on Susan's Cozy Kitchen. If you're looking for some comfort food, this is it. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure and give it a big thumbs up. If you've not already subscribed to my channel, please do so. While you're there, hit the notification bell so that you find out every time I upload a new video to YouTube. Thanks for joining me. God bless.